News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with the latest on efforts to end the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he has an agreement with the U.S. to make security guarantees legally binding through a vote in Congress as part of a deal to end the war. Zelensky expects the U.S. to consult next with Russia, while Ukrainian negotiators may return to America for weekend talks. President Trump says the conflict is nearing resolution.
I think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever.
President Trump made those remarks after he spoke yesterday to a gathering of European leaders hosted by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz.
Nathan, let's get the latest now on the death of actor-director Rob Reiner. The Hollywood icon's son is being held this morning in the stabbing deaths of his father and mother, Michelle Singer Reiner, in their Brentwood home. Here's Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonnell.
Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case, he was subsequently booked for murder and is being held.
And LA Police Chief Jim McDonnell says prosecutors will decide charges for Nick Reiner later today. He's being held without bail. Rob Reiner's death has led to an outpouring of tributes in the entertainment and political worlds. Reiner was a longtime donor to Democratic and liberal causes. President Trump is reacting to Reiner's death with scorn.
I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned.
President Trump spoke after he claimed on social media that Reiner died of, quote, Trump derangement syndrome. That sparked backlash from some of the president's fellow Republicans. Conservative commentator Eric Erickson drew parallels with Republican calls for civility after the death of Charlie Kirk.
Karen, the manhunt continues this morning for the gunman in the mass shooting at Brown University. Shock over the rampage that killed 2 students and wounded 9 others is giving way to frustration over the investigation. A person of interest who was detained over the weekend has been released. Police in Providence, Rhode Island have yet to name any new suspect since. Talia Levine is a student at Brown.
Overall, the sentiment among students has just been deep-rooted distress and fear that this could happen in a place that we consider so safe in our home.
Brown student Talia Levine spoke as police released 3 more videos and 2 photos of a suspect wearing dark clothing, a cap, and a face mask. Here's Rhode Island Governor Daniel McKee.
We want to make sure that all Rhode Islanders know that everything is physically possible is being done, and partnering in with our federal, the FBI, our state law enforcement, and also the local law enforcement to bring an individual and identify and bring that person to justice.
Governor Daniel McKee and other officials have said there is no clear security footage from inside the building where the shooting took place. He says that has hampered the search. The FBI is offering $50,000 for information that leads to an arrest and conviction.
Nathan, let's get the latest on the terror attack in Australia. Authorities say early indications point the attack, which killed at least 15 people at a Bondi Beach Hanukkah celebration, was inspired by the Islamic State. We get more on the information on the father and son attackers from Bloomberg's Angus Wheatley in Sydney.
They did travel to the Philippines last month, though it's not clear what they did there or where specifically they went. But they have found 2 homemade ISIS flags in a car they suspect belong to the 2 gunmen. And that's pretty much all they're willing to say. But in the update, in the press conference this afternoon, they were really bombarded and swamped with questions because there's so many unanswered questions about the response to anti-Semitism, about the police presence there. Was it heavy enough? Was security heavy enough?
And Bloomberg's Angus Whitley says Labour Prime Minister Anthony Albanese rejected criticism of his handling of escalating attacks while urging Australians to rally around the Jewish community. Nathan, President Trump is suing the BBC for at least $10 billion over what he claims is a misleading edit in their documentary last year. The edit gave the impression the president made a direct call for violence in a speech ahead of the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. And Bloomberg's UN Potts reports from London.
Donald Trump's defamation lawsuit against the BBC was filed yesterday in federal court in Miami. The US president says he's suing the broadcaster for, quote, putting words in my mouth. The Panorama documentary made it appear that Trump told his supporters they should walk down to the Capitol and fight like hell. In fact, he said they should cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. The fight like hell remark was from a much later part of the speech. Trump's lawyer claims the incident is part of the BBC's long long-standing pattern of manipulating President Trump's speeches. The BBC has previously apologised to the president but rejected his demands for compensation, saying there is no basis for a defamation claim. In London, I'm Ewan Potts, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.